Big Boy's Neighborhood. Common in the neighborhood, man. First off, I gotta say it. Love.
Hey,
Love.
I got a book called "Let Love Have the
Hey,
Last
man,
Word."
right.
So.
I gotta ask, why the book? Why peel the layers off and give us a book?
Well, I always learn a lot through books. Like books make me sit down and like have
Slow
to
down,
slow
too.
down and slow. Like I love art and music and film, and I feel those things. But sometimes books make me like know step by step what to do. And I've been inspired by books my whole life, from the autobiography of Malcolm X to like James Baldwin books to self-help books like The Alchemist and it's Return to Love by Marion Williamson.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah, I love that book. So I felt like the things that I was experiencing, I wanted to be able to break it down in a book so that people, like young people, anybody, any age, could just like say, oh, okay, these are some of the things that I'm experiencing too. And these are the ways that I can get through these things. Like just by telling my story.
Yeah.
It's not like I got all the answers, but books make you reflect.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Hey, man, and then just with the story, there's some times where people don't get a one-on-one with you, or you know what I'm saying, where
Yes.
you can talk to them. Then when you put it in a book, there's so many different jewels that's there.
Yes.
When I wrote my book, it was more of I couldn't have and I love conversating, but I couldn't have a conversation with everyone. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So you put that in your book, man, and you peeled off layers. You know what I'm saying? And you told your story.
Yeah.
And I think that with you telling your story, there is a lot of same. Me
Yes.
too.
Yes.
I understand that. I've been there. And then when you can open up, there's so many people that live in the dark, Common.
Yes, sir.
And when you can open them up by opening up your whatever happens in your life, that right there, man, that's the keys, not to success, but that's the keys to opening up so many doors in your life to wherever you want to go.
Man, I really value that what you're saying, because like I've had people that's really close to me, like one of my bros who works with me, like open up about him going through different like personal things because of this book.
Yeah.
And I've had an Asian young lady come to me and say, man, I feel the same thing that and it's like, it just shows me when you go to your truth, it's so many people from different walks of life that go through the same things. And even if it's not the exact same situation, they understand the fear, they understand the insecurities.
Yeah.
They understand like whether it's abuse or trauma that has existed, the anxiety. And, everybody, I feel like by nature, we all are good people and we all want to be better. So it's just like, to me, I think books and me telling, what I wanted to open up, because I felt like it could open other people up to themselves and they could do
because
the work.
you also had certain literature that probably opened you up.
For sure.
And then just different dialogue with people that open you up. You know what I'm saying? And you'll be that conduit to the next person or the next village. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So did you feel like, was there also a fear of peeling off so many layers and making yourself so-called vulnerable?
I don't think I had that fear as
That's
much because I think, through talking with a therapist and like my music has always been personal. But once I started like going to layers that were like even more vulnerable, I just felt like confident in the fact that, man, I'm doing this for a purpose that's higher than me, and it's a freedom and liberation in living in your truth.
Yeah.
I didn't know immediately I was going to start jump out the box as soon as the book came out, start talking about being molested and talking about therapy. But as I started to do it, the people that were approaching me and talking about, man, I went through this same situation, it let me know I was living in purpose.
And and your music has always been inspiring, but it's a whole different conversation when you tap into something else, a bond, a like, you know what I'm saying? So with you doing that, bro, could you have wrote that book 10 years ago?
No,
Right.
I wouldn't have. It's like, it's been the journey of just learning myself, building myself spiritually and emotionally, and just as a man, and then actually opening myself up, cracking myself open through therapy and different things. So I learned like, oh man, these are the issues I have that I'm dealing with. And to me, like one thing my father, God bless his soul, one thing I always loved about him, he would always tell me like his flaws. Like he wasn't just like only just trying to be the
perfect,
hero. Right. And that was like helpful for me because I appreciated him for that. We had a better relationship because he was honest about the things that he did wrong, where he fell when he was doing drugs, where he didn't want to, like, he left and did. That type of thing is like just lets every human being know, man, we human beings, man. We all experience some of these things. How can we correct them? Like I make music, I write books because I want people to feel better. I want people to be in the best situation possible. I feel like we deserve that as
Why
people.
the title "Let Love Have the Last Word"?
Well, that was just me saying, like, amongst all this political propaganda and division and like what they're doing to people who trying to get in the country and what, people going into spiritual places, like shooting up places.
Yeah.
Like, what can overcome all of that is really love, and not love in like the floaty way. I know when we joking, I say love, love, love. But I'm talking about like it as an active purpose, like a thing like where was somebody.
Like you can't do some of the things that you're doing if love had the last word.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Even when you're sitting there thinking, talking to yourself, because we all been ready to jump out the window for something.
Exactly.
Right. And then when you really reel it back, you're like, nah. You know what I'm saying? And that's really letting love have the last word.
That's, like, it's not a day that goes by where I don't feel like snapping about something. Right. But I think, when I'm saying let love have the last word, it's like being able to process those things and not just react off emotions. And just like as Michelle Obama said, when they go low, we go high. Mm-hmm. It's like that philosophy of like, okay, how can I do that as a father? How can I do that to people that don't believe what I believe in? Mm-hmm. Like really be on a high vibration and just act in love. And that don't always be, that's not passive. It's radical. Like I look at what the Black Panthers was doing, what Dolores Huerta was doing. A lot of the people that's part of the movement, Angela Davis, activism is love. Like you ain't just sitting there like, just like, oh man, yeah, just keep beating us down. No, it's like, okay, you doing all this stuff over here, government, Trump, we about to go in the community. We about to build ourselves up. That's the love I'm talking about. Like,
all right, we got to talk about the music as well, man. Yeah. Common came in, and before we got on, man, you played us something that I thought was just so well written, so well delivered. And you got a gift that you about to present to everyone, man. And the song is?
It's called Her Love.
Right, man. And the backstory on that, bro. Share it with everyone.
So the backstory is this song is produced by Jay Dilla, the late great, rest in peace. And this is a beat that he had left behind in his MPC, in his drum machine when he was passing. We were roommates, and he created this beat. So I approached this beat like, because I knew it was something special. I really wanted to talk about something that was special to me, and I decided to write about hip-hop.
Yeah, and it had to be special to Dilla as well.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly.
And as soon as I started to hear it, I was like, oh, this is I Used to Love Her.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, it's a continuation. Yes. It's homage to that and what hip-hop is right now. And I felt like it's great to be able to talk about it from a perspective of somebody who appreciates the culture for what it is now, too.
Right.
And not complaining.
I got to ask you on I Used to Love Her, it was more of like, damn, where are we taking hip hop? Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you still in love with hip hop today.
Yes, sir.
I heard that.
I just love the art form, the freedom, what we bring. A lot of the new artists are doing creative stuff and some of it, like, I always can go to, like, I can go to Kendrick Lamar and say, this dude is one of the greatest MCs that existed any time period. I can go to Chance. I like, and it's just artists, whether it's ASAP, I like, it's fun artists, and I feel like all of it is the expression of hip hop. Mm-hmm. And, I know people say, oh man, that's rap. I don't mind whatever. Whether we call it a rap or not, hip hop has been this thing that let Black and Latino people express ourselves in the greatest way. It brought everybody together. Mm-hmm. Now the new generation is expressing and it's dope. And I'm like, yo, I just wanted to show that perspective in a way that was like, okay, things do go through changes. And at times I was like, man, what's up with hip? I wasn't like feeling the music like that. But then I understood that, man, some things evolve and grow.
And listening to it, Common, though, it is so beautiful the way that it was written. Yeah. Because you could have went from an angle of, damn, what are y'all doing to hip hop? Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And it could have sounded like, oh, that's somebody that's an OG preaching to us, but it was written and delivered so well, bro. Yeah, like thanks, so man. Well. And you didn't waste a J Dilla beat. If anybody can, it's you.
Man, I feel so honored that I got a Dilla beat, man, and it just I was like, man, this dude is something special, man, because he passed in 2006, and that beat is resonating. Like when I heard it, I was inspired, like it was new. You know, he made that so that means he made it in 2006, 2005. So that's like, man, it's timeless. And then we got Daniel Caesar and Dwele on the song. Just, you know, like I think, like I said, a lot of the new artists I really enjoy, I want to work with, you know. So,
right. Like who do you enjoy? Man, I know you say ASAP, Kendrick.
I like this artist, No Name. She's from Chicago. She's super dope. I like her. I like SZA. I definitely like. I mean, I like some of that TDE camp just in general.
Yeah,
yeah. Those are some.
And go ahead, love.
Have you gotten a chance to link up with any of them at all?
Just only
Kendrick,
like checking out shows. We've been in the same places. I definitely want to do some
I would
music
love to see
with.
a Common and Kendrick.
Oh my God,
Dude,
bro.
please, collaboration. We need that.
Yeah, I want to do that.
I demand it.
That would be. That would be like,
yes.
You know how when you really listen, because even when I listen to Her Love, right, that's not a mixed record. That's not where you jump out after the first verse or after the second. Like, I wanted more verses.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when you get to verse 3, you're like, all right, that's what you and Kendrick would do.
Yes.
Where it's like, man, you can't cut out of this song.
Yeah, well, the type of music Kendrick makes is the music that I always want to be a part of, and that's like timeless music. Meaning, I listen to the whole damn album, like I listen to the whole project, and I can like be into it. I like full projects out and songs, like you said. You ain't jumping out off of the first verse. This is a song. It's a story.
Yeah,
to
man.
It. So yeah, man. I would love to work with Kendrick. He's actually at the top of my list of artists that that I would love to work with.
We gotta call Top Dog and make that happen.
Yeah.
Top.
Yes,
I'll call Top.
Come on, big.
What did you learn about yourself writing your new book?
Man, I learned that I could be as courageous as I want to be. Like I learned that I'm willing to like subject myself to some ridicule or maybe possible ridicule or possible attacks or just whatever, because I'm talking about really like personal things that in hip hop and as a black man we usually don't talk about those things. So, but what I learned was like I'm willing to talk about those things because I feel like the benefits of what it will be will outweigh any ridicule that comes. So that let me know I was courageous enough to go there, and that I still got work to do. Like it's like this is a journey. Like I feel
God
like
willing, it's forever and a day.
Yes, sir.
Hey man, we had recently had Lamar Odom in the neighborhood, and Lamar has a new book called From Darkness to Light. And with speaking with him, he's telling his story too, peeling off a lot of layers. But also when we started to talk to him, and we said this in front of him, when we were talking about just therapy, and he had never been to therapy. And when we talked to him about it, it just feels like, and we said it to brother, it feels like he's far away from that.
So far.
Still.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's why when you see more of us releasing and you see our vulnerabilities or us as human beings with flaws, whatever it may be, then it lets the next person tell their truth as well.
Yeah.
And he has his book there, but I do encourage him, like how I did in the hallway and how we spoke to him here, to at least look into it. But that's another thing where we're coming, oh, we don't need it. No, I'm cool. I can get through it. And sometimes we can't.
Yeah, and I mean, I've heard a lot of, people, especially honestly from older generations, be like, nah, man, God got me.
Yeah.
Well, God works through people.
Right.
And God will work through a therapist. One of the most beautiful things my therapist told me was when I was chasing certain things, she was like, man, God loves feel you. God loves, it fills you up. You don't need, remember you full of God's love. And I was like, man, it helped me to be like, not put too much value in other things and value myself, knowing that.
First.
My point to those who like think it's a bad thing is like, man, if you deal with any illness, you go see a doctor, right?
Right.
You get
Hopefully,
diagnosed. Hopefully you will, right? Whether it's a holistic doctor or just a regular Western medicine doctor, you will go see a doctor. Hopefully you will. That doctor will diagnose you and give you things to help heal you. That's basically simply what a therapist does emotionally and mentally for you. And it's been like, you know, I've had family members try to support and to help me. My aunt, she used to be my hood therapist.
And people that really love you too and have your best interest.
Yeah, but they don't all have the tools
Right.
to diagnose and tell you what's going on for you to actually improve and grow.
Yeah. Sometimes a chef can't fix a car. You know what I'm saying? You got to. You know what I'm saying?
That's just what it is.
You get, and you can have the best person, you know, but they can't fix you at that moment.
Dude, that's my whole philosophy in building anything is like, man, I go to get the best architect, I get the best plumber.
Right.
I don't want no plumber that does electricity. He does electrical work on the side pretty good.
Yeah,
I want
yeah.
The best.
Burn your whole house down.
Yeah.
Is Jose in here? Thank you, Jose. You should have looked right over at my homeboy Jose. Yeah, man.
When it did come to therapy, was there a moment where maybe you didn't want to try it and someone convinced you, or what was your process of getting into it?
Was it a slow process
Yeah.
too?
It was a slow process. Look, I'm a person, I'm always willing to work on myself. But that was one of the places where I was, like many people, like, man, we don't need therapy. Like, we good. Like,
Right.
why y'all going to
Denying
therapy?
it.
I was denying that. And I might have had a fear of going into those places, like, you know. But what happened for me was actually, I was in the acting class and my coach was like, you know, because we talk about a lot of personal things. She was like, yo, I think you need to go because you repeating these cycles. What you telling me is you repeating these cycles. And I knew I was repeating certain cycles in relationships for sure. And so I was like, it was an urgency because I had just broke up with Serena. And then we were going through that breakup, and it was like, man, I need to see why I keep doing the same things. And I just really decided to talk to a therapist. And, you know, the first time it was a little trepidation, a little bit like, oh, what's going on? But, man, as soon as I started talking to her, I was feeling like weight was coming off my shoulder. And it was like, walls was being broke down. And it just was things that, like, I realized that I was carrying from when I was a child, that I was bringing into my present, like, life and fears. And I didn't know that. So it's like, now knowing that, I can, like, function and say, okay, is this real or am I creating this type of fear, you know? And it's just having those tools and resources. That we don't always access those tools and resources.
Right.
That's why I'm talking about it. I'm like, yo, like I met young people that's seen their cousin shot, seen their homie die.
Man.
Like, you telling me they don't need some type of mental health support? Like, that's some of the worst things you can experience in life.
And then if we push it back, that's a problem.
Yes.
If it becomes, we can deal with it, it's a norm, I've seen this, that's a problem.
Bro, that's where a lot of we talk about in hip hop and in our culture when they talk about the toxic masculinity or whatever those terms people use. Some of that is just pushed down, like not expressing like your pain or your hurt or your
Holding it back.
Like, and I've been going to prisons in California, visiting people like just
And
like going to
performing
talk,
for
and
them
performing.
too. Man, that was beautiful.
And man, so many women and men I met in prison were sexually abused, were abused like just physically. They were able to trace, like, I met people who were doing life without parole, committed murders, who were some of the most humane and beautiful people I ever met in my life. But they was able to trace where
That trauma started.
started. And they was like, man, I don't want to.
And you almost see like traits.
Yes.
Like, you start to see a so-called pattern.
A pattern, man.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, yo, my thing is like, man, in our communities, we can heal this. Like, we talk about a lot what the system is doing, but this is one of the issues we got to talk about amongst ourselves to stop the cycle. You know what I'm saying?
Stop
It's
the
like,
secrets.
Yeah,
too.
the secret. Oh, man. I was just reading
Don't give him that. That's going to be his next book. he locked in on that. He going to take chef, mechanic. He going to take it all. You know what I'm saying?
I'm going to be in here like with my new book. Like, I came up with this idea.
Yeah. And Natalia going to be looking at you like, who's going to win the NBA championship?
I'm going with Golden State.
Really, though?
Yeah. I mean, I love their team because, man, they just play like a team. It's like Steph Curry is an incredible leader. Like, his game is like, people don't give him credit for his leadership. When he's playing good, that whole team is energized, and people they rile up for him. They get behind him. So I love him. He seemed like a humble dude and a good dude, but he a killer on the court.
Yeah. Kill that craft.
Yeah. He got that. But then the rest of them dudes is so good too, and like the dudes stepping up off the bench, like whether it's Quinn Cook and to see DeMarcus Cousins come back from injury. I feel like they can do it, and I think Toronto, they got Kawhi and they got some role players, but I don't think they role players is strong enough.
Really though. Yeah, Drake not gonna like that answer, but
Yeah.
Well,
But-
Drake, you know, he cheering for us team. I can't be mad at him.
it is what it is. Where are you and Drake right now? Because I know years ago it was, you know what I'm saying? And I see that Drake been, he always repairs, you know, it looked like he repairs a lot of situations and everything, and everybody's grown.
Yeah, I gotta say, man, Drake, when we had that beef was for real for me, and it was real for him. But man, we saw each other at the Grammys, and it kind of was like a little tension. And then it was just like a real honest talk that we had about like his respect for me, and I was letting him know I thought he was a really dope and talented artist, and we kind of just squashed it there. It was like more like, man, what are we even beefing over at this point?
Yeah,
like
man.
this ain't where we want our lives to go. So let me just chill out on that. So I got to give like him a lot of respect because he handled that like a grown man shit.
Right.
You know.
Yeah,
He looked me in my eye and told me like, look, I really respect your music. And so I felt bad when you was dissing me.
Right.
It was
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
It was funny. Like I kind of felt him because when Ice Cube first dissed me, I was like,
You're like, man, I love you.
I love you, man. I
why gotta
love
do
you.
me like
You're
this?
like, but
Yeah, but
Where's the paper?
You coming at the wrong one.
yeah, give me a pen.
yeah,
Give me a pen. Back in the days, you know, we wasn't.
exactly. Give me that
But
pen.
that's good, man. When you see everybody kind of make a turn,
Yes.
you know what I'm saying? When you start to see, because we've been around it and we've seen where things can go. Not even just in hip hop, just period. If we don't have dialogue,
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
And that dialogue was like, it was like we kind of. It's the issue sometimes is we keep our egos and we like the same thing we was just talking about when it comes to neighborhoods and like you said, it's not just hip hop, but you know, I talk to a lot of youngins like, man, what I'm supposed to do, man? And they came at me. If I don't come back, they gonna think I'm soft,
Right.
And then they gonna keep getting at me. And I'm like, man, sometimes you just gotta communicate and just step away and go on your mission.
Yeah, man.
Like one of the things for me that got me through the hood was like, man, I got a mission. Like, cause I could have been out here trying to gangbang, cause I was right on the edge of. I had a great home, mother, and everything, but I was right there with them dudes. But I was like, man, I got a mission.
I noticed in some of your early videos coming.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Common, I feel like you've always been a very important voice for social injustices and racial inequalities. What do you have going on right now with Imagine Justice?
Oh yeah, that's the organization that we have that we've been going into a lot of the prisons and really just like I said, creating transformative programs, really just absorbing what they need in prison, also helping to change. We worked to get some bills changed to become laws, which was SB 394, which was saying that juveniles that were convicted, they can no longer be convicted of life without parole. So that was one of the ones that was important to us. We working on bail reform. So our mission is to really help shift this criminal justice system so it could be more about rehabilitating people and like, you know, like changing lives for the better for people who've committed crime and being preventative also. So we've been meeting with the governor. We've met, you know, we work with this organization called ARC, A-R-C, which is anti-recidivism. Scott Budnick, yes, Anti-Recidivism Coalition. So that's part of our mission. But essentially, we want to be, Imagine Justice is going to be the Amazon of social justice. That's what we want.
did y'all visit prison at the same time?
I went when he performed at a prison, and that experience to me, it's like, first of all, I was like amongst the prisoners, and I've never seen. It was just a different type of experience to be a part of. I mainly was watching them because I've seen you like many times, but I heard like some of them were crying. One of them said, "I've never felt so free in my life." He's like, "That's common. Like I will never experience this again." And one of them was his birthday. He's like he was the one that was crying the most. He's like, would never imagine. He's like, you know, I'm never gonna get out. And he actually got in as a juvie. I think he got locked up as when he was 15, got trialed as an adult, and he's been in there already for like 10 years. So he's like, I'm never gonna go out. He's like, I'm never gonna experience this. And it was his birthday that day. So
That's God too, though.
it was
Giving
so
him
beautiful.
that, you know what I'm saying?
That's
It was
God.
so beautiful.
Giving him something that probably put a lot of gas in his life tank as well.
Why are these topics so important to you, especially when it comes to mass incarceration?
Yeah, well, you know, I was having a talk with this woman. Her name is Michelle Alexander. She wrote a book called The New Jim Crow, which is really tracing how slavery to Jim Crow to mass incarceration has been a form of slavery, right? For black and now brown people too. Anyway, I was really like on my thing about Chicago violence. So And she started tracing how the violence that's been happening is a result also of mass incarceration because, you know, it's fathers being removed from the homes, mothers being removed from the homes. It's also like the cycle of if you don't rehabilitate somebody and they come back out of prison and they can't get a job and they can't get housing.
Continue.
What
do we expect sometimes?
Yeah. So that really struck me because Scott Butnick had been coming to me all the time saying, come talk at the prisons, come, you know. And I was like, I wasn't there yet. But when I had that conversation, it really struck me because I realized how much the mass incarceration is affecting our families outside
Black
too.
and brown communities.
Our communities. And then, you know, just going in, you really get to see how human beings, you know, just end up being locked up in prison and treated like less than human. And I feel like I never am for any injustice like that. People deserve another chance. And I also want to be attentive and respectful to the families who lost loved ones too.
Right.
And now, right now, with when they see us,
Ava,
is on Netflix coming out. And you were part
you
of
haven't seen that yet?
I gotta see that.
When you get,
man.
and I know you ripping and running, but when you get a chance, sit down and watch that. You already know the story because I know the story.
Yeah.
But you probably seen other documentaries as well.
Yeah.
But you gotta see this work, bro.
Yeah.
Well, Ava previewed it in the 13th on Netflix, which you wrote the song for. But it just literally makes like your blood boil because it talks about 5 young innocent actually there was no evidence that really incriminated them.
These things
teenagers,
can't happen.
but they do.
You know what I'm saying? Like that it can't happen. That the system isn't designed a certain way.
Man,
you know,
it's happening, man. Like, I mean, when it's the story, I mean, first of all, I gotta see when they see
you
it.
have to.
Ava is a force,
Man,
man.
yes, she is.
That woman is incredible.
we're gonna have to make sure that we continue to put our arms around her as well.
and
You know what I'm
support her
saying?
and watch her stuff
and nothing
and go.
crazy. I'm just
No.
saying that keep our eye on her.
Yeah.
And she don't like being called auntie. I saw that yesterday.
She's brilliant.
Yeah, so don't
man.
say auntie to her.
I love
you know
what she's
I'm saying?
doing.
Nah,
Yeah,
nah.
but make sure you get a chance to check that out.
I'm definitely gonna.
Now, Kim Kardashian has been kind of champion, you know, early release or you know pulling people out. How do you feel about that? Because you're really on the front line, not just on the front line. You're inside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Man, I'm super grateful that she's dedicating herself to that. Like, she's committed to that. And I've talked with her myself. I've been to a prison with her. Me, her, and Kanye went to one of the prisons in California. And it was no cameras, no nothing. She was just there, and they were there just to absorb and do some of the same things we've been doing. And I see the work she's doing. Man, I'm like, I'm proud. I'm inspired. Like, I'm like, she's reaching people who never would think about people that are incarcerated.
Right.
And she's bringing it up. So that's making them see it differently. You know, the same way, honestly, like a lot of people who were incarcerated was like, yo, Common, you just being here. Like, literally, big, literally, y'all. Like, it's one dude that was locked up. He was doing 6 life sentences, a nonviolent crime. His family saw us on, like, because we filmed inside, his family saw us on the internet and was like, looked at him different. Like, said, man, you chilling with Common. It's all, like, not even on some celebrity, but they just saw him as a human being, kind of, instead of just looking at him like, oh, our family member committed a crime. He eventually got released. His name is John. This dude was great. They had these dog programs.
6 life sentences?
6 life sentences for fraud. Like,
wow.
Yeah, bro, 6 life sentences. Man, I met people doing like 300 years for being on the scene. Like, that's what, it's certain things that's like, that laws that they had in California, if you was around, and they called enhancements too. If they find out you're a part of a gang, they give you 25 more years.
Yep.
It's like,
They
come
add.
on, man.
But you can
Like,
rape a girl and get 3 months.
it's like,
pretty much.
it just shows you where the system where it's been
Inequality.
and how it's thinking. But California is leading the charge in certain ways, certain like prisons and people, and definitely I got to say the governor has been like, Newsom he's been like somebody who we met with before, and he showed up to the prisons and like we've had people that's part of the Senate come to some of these events, and that changed their perspective. So I think progress is being made. We just got to get it to the next level.
And we're talking, you know, and we're having dialogue.
Yeah.
We're having dialogue, man, and we have some of the best people speaking the best way for us.
Man.
You know what I'm saying?
It mean a lot too. Like, and just having like the fact that we talk about it, we talking about it on y'all show is just something that somebody riding and listening is like, man, I got to think about this now. You know, and I think the more and more we got the Kim Kardashians or Kanye or Meek Mills or
Commons.
myself,
Yes.
then man, the more people will be like, I watch my mother honestly be like, you know, her whole thing is about youth. But once I started visiting the prisons, she was like, she really is like starting to focus on it. In her prayers, she be like, I'm praying for the people that's, you know, locked up, you know.
Common, what's your background with The Chi? You know, The Chi is my favorite show.
You rock with us?
Yeah, I don't watch a lot of scripted TV. Well, I don't think I watch any scripted TV, but that's the one that I have to watch, bro.
Dude, that's a lot of love right there. Cause I don't watch
it's Sunday night, like as a family, we gotta watch
That's
it
his show.
as it's on.
The fam watch it?
Oh man, it's like we get home, like, oh, we gotta watch The Chi. Everybody either shower, whatever we gotta do, and we sit down and watch The Chi as a family, bro.
Yo, I love that, bro. Like that. So first, you know, we serve as executive producers on. I have a film company called Freedom Road. So I'm an executive producer with It started with Lena. Like we found that script. She wrote the first script. It was called Chirac back then, and we contacted Lena. I called Lena and was like, "Yo, I really want to be a part of this." And from there, we just started shopping the show, and we eventually it went through a pilot, and it didn't. Pilot wasn't right. We had to reshoot the pilot.
Wow.
We got picked up by Showtime, and since, man, one of the proudest things is not only do I got y'all, you know, Big, you watching
show.
it, but a lot of people from Chicago have been like, man, we rock with this show, G. Like, this show is
And
really
I noticed
That's
that there
important.
was a difference between season 1 and season 2. People really enjoyed season 1, but people from Turf Home Plate, I know that they had some things to say, and y'all tightened up even more so, huh?
Yeah, we tightened it up because you know some people was like, man, y'all talking about the South Side, but we see y'all filming on the West Side. They sometimes don't know that sometimes that's just a budget issue.
Right.
And what's available.
Yeah,
but
budgets, permits, like,
yeah. But essentially, man, we wanted to just make sure we captured the roundness of what Chicago is, and these individuals are. They grow up like it's not one. We not one dimensional. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got these kids.
It's a great show, man. Great storyline. The kids look good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it has all the enoughs: family enough, street enough, hood enough, educated. It's like there's so many enoughs there. And I don't know what's going on with Jason Mitchell, and I don't know where that puts season 3. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just hoping that the show doesn't go away.
Yeah, no, the show will definitely be there.
Personally, have you talked with Jason Mitchell without releasing anything?
Yeah, I haven't spoke with Jason. You know, it's unfortunate everything that happened. I need to I'm working on getting all the information that I can, but we are going to keep this show going because we owe it to the people, man.
It's so needed, man. And it wasn't called, that's my guy, but it wasn't called the Jason Mitchell Show.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
So keep it
continue.
going, man. Comment Trump.
Yeah.
What do you feel about Donald Trump? I didn't think it was going to be this bad.
No, I never thought it would be this bad. I think it really just it's sad to see that our country has got to a point where we elected and still continue to support. And I say we, of course, I didn't vote for him.
Right, yeah.
I'm saying the we of like we are part of this country, and we've selected somebody who is just like consistently not showing what a true leader is supposed to be about, is super divisive, saying ignorant stuff, changes his mind over here, this and that. It just feel like chaos.
Yeah,
and
man.
It's like being in a home, if in your house and your father's just like running rampant crazy, and he's not our father, but he's a leader of the country.
Right.
Right.
Household.
Yeah.
If this was the
household.
Yeah.
This the household, exactly. So my thing has been, because after a certain amount of conversations, angst, and just looking, I'm like, I don't even try to absorb him anymore. I like when I see him on TV, I turn it like I just be like, what am I going to do? My combating Trump is to go out and do good for other human beings, like, and do good for myself, and make sure I'm identifying policymakers and people in politics, that I'm identifying who should I support and go out and vote for them.
That's what I wanted to know. Have you decided, or is there someone
It's
that
still
you really
early to me.
appreciate or like that's in the race?
It is early, but I am happy that we do have a Kamala Harris, or that Joe Biden is out there, and it's like I don't know who I'm going to vote for yet, but those are better great options in comparison to what we have. And
Anything is.
Yeah, help me. I can get in there. You know what I'm saying?
Any of us can make
when
it.
when he won, I was like, you know what? He won. I said, hopefully he put a good cabinet, a good administration around him, and they'll help him with politics. And it's been the worst, bro.
The worst, man.
It's been the worst. I remember when we were watching the actual numbers that night. I remember it was I-Day that
I
said,
was sick.
oh my God, you think he's gonna win? And it was something I was just like, nah. And I was watching, and when I woke up that next morning, it was like somebody socked me in my stomach.
I was like, I was mourning.
It was
like a
a
death.
morning.
I was
Yeah,
like, oh
man.
my God.
It was a morning.
That's how it felt.
And it's got worse.
It's got worse, man.
Yeah, man.
But that's why I said, I mean, I got to be aware of what's going on.
Right.
But I try not to digest it over and over because I feel like it just
Why
put me
spend
in
the
a
hour
cycle.
here when you can spend the hour over here?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Simple
Don't put
as
the
that.
energy over there.
Over there, right?
Yeah, man. Because
That's
that
what I'm
energy gonna be there for a little bit.
For a
You know
little
what I'm
bit,
saying?
for a
But
little-
we trying to create a new world.
But we got to, man. Like, this is the time, like, now where we need to be galvanizing and like, okay, man, we going out to vote. We got to get because between black and brown people, man, we can
the
shift
votes.
this thing. We can really shift this thing so we can get him out of office and get somebody right in.
What did you feel when Kanye West was given a lot of the support and wearing the MAGA hat and everything?
Yeah, I wasn't with that, and that's my brother. For as long as I'm on the planet, I love Kanye. That's my guy. He's done so much.
Personally,
for me.
do you have a conversation with him?
I never had a conversation with him. It's crazy. We was hooping like a little bit before all this stuff happened, and he would say little things, but it never was really like connecting with me that he really believed this. And at that time, it was like he wouldn't even say it much to me. He kind of was just saying it out loud. So, but I never had a conversation with him about Trump specifically. And I never ever supported. I think he never really did a diligence to know all the things that Trump was doing, or even if he had, he wasn't weighing the fact that, man, all these things that Trump is doing, you might like him for these reasons, but man, do you understand the people that's being hurt by
Look
what
at all this over here.
Over here.
Yeah.
So, sometimes, people had a tendency. He had to learn like a lot of other people, and I think, wherever he is right now, I still love him as my brother, but I never agree with that.
And I see Ye, and I talk to Ye, and the same, bro. I never had a real Donald Trump conversation with him because for one, it can't be quick,
right?
You know what I'm saying? And then I think that if we talk for half a day, we're gonna still walk out because he's never gonna pull me over,
right?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I think we're gonna walk out the door with the same thing, with the same opinion.
I actually think that's been one of the reasons. And the moments I've had with Ye, I just talk about I be just trying to check and see how he doing, and like talk about life things that we got going on.
Yeah, that's another thing. I don't want to spend my time with you talking about Trump when I love you and I want to talk about something else.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's where I have spent my time with him, and I love that he doing the Sunday service thing.
Yeah,
man,
those are good too, bro. Those are good, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Comment, you ball a lot, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. And you were a ball boy for the Chicago Bulls?
Yeah, I was.
Did you have hoop dreams?
Man, I had hoop dreams bad. Like, I really, my dream was to be a hooper, man. Like, I looked up to Isaiah, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan. I was a ball boy for the Bulls when Michael Jordan first came.
That's so awesome.
I actually had like a pair of Jordans that he signed it straight off his feet after like 2 games.
Where they at?
I gave them to my father. My father.
What did you do with them?
My father was wearing them to shows and stuff.
Pops, what are you doing?
Pops, what you doing? And when he passed, he gave them to one of my sisters. So I had to respect that. But them shoes, man, them was straight from Mike.
No,
Like,
man,
How
off his
much
feet.
off his feet.
Like a kickoff.
Yeah, like,
You're supposed to box those.
Yeah. So, but I definitely wanted to be a hooper. But you know what? I got injured.
Here we go.
Injury.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
I got injured. That's
Hold on.
why.
Let me record this part.
As good as Michael.
So why don't you start off with
Michael
what
wanted
had
to be on the
happened?
team.
Have y'all seen Just Right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that your story?
NBA. That's
I
NBA.
thought you had a stunt double in a baller double.
No, that stunt double never got in the game.
Right.
Never got in. I was like, my pride.
So what was the injury?
No, I got poked in the eye.
Wait, didn't Draymond Green? Who just got poked in the eye?
Career-ending injury.
Yeah.
James Harden got poked in the
James
eye.
Harden, yeah, and he went through all the games. Well, maybe he didn't get poked in his eye, they would have won. So you got poked in the eye. That's how my soccer career ended. I was wearing shin guards and I got kicked in my shin. I was like, man, F this.
He has a scar, big. He has a scar right there.
Yeah,
Prove it. I see
that
it.
ain't from
I
it.
see it.
That's
I
from a
see
hard
it.
Chicago life. You know what I'm saying? What are you talking about?
Yeah, but I actually feel like it was divine order because once I got poked, I was out of the season for like a year. I mean, for like half
ever?
the season. And then when I came back, I wasn't getting no tick. I wasn't getting no playing time, so I started rapping more.
I
So
heard
it was like, yo.
It's your calling.
Hey, man,
my
that was
calling.
God like, poof.
Yeah.
Like, oh! You know when you think the worst thing is going on,
Exactly.
and then the best thing happens? Like, I can't believe that door closed.
Yeah.
Oh, what's this opening over here?
Exactly.
Yeah, and so you left college also to go to Relativity, like to
Yeah.
become an artist?
Yeah,
What does your family think when you get into a university
Man.
at Florida A&M and it's like, I'm leaving?
I'm gonna be a rapper.
Man, my mother's an educator. She was a teacher, a retired teacher now, and a principal. So I was doing good in school. I was majoring in business administration, and Florida A&M, which is a historical black college, it has a great like business school. So I was thriving. And when I told my mother I was rapping, she honestly didn't even know I rap. She like, wait, you talking about leaving school to rap? Why ain't he? And I was like, yo, this is my dream, blah, blah, blah. She was like, nah, bro. And now she like, hurry up and make an album. I need a new car.
Yeah. She over there dusting the Oscar.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
exactly.
like I almost told him not to do this. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? But now she probably like, I told him.
I told him.
You know what I'm saying? I told him.
But
From the beginning.
it was full circle for me because just a month ago, I got to do the commencement speech at Florida A&M's graduation, and they gave me an honorary doctorate. So I was like, oh man, I left this school to go pursue my dream, and I'm here getting an honorary doctorate and telling the students, my journey. So it felt good, man.
Dude, I wish West LA City College would give me an honorary, A degree or something. Yeah, because I would put it on my wall like it's real
I
for real.
heard
Dude.
that.
You know how Bill Cosby had all these honoraries?
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude.
They called him Dr. Bill Cosby. This dude didn't have no fucking honor. You know
Yo,
what I'm saying? Like,
big, I ain't gonna lie. I wore that. I wore
yeah.
my robe and everything. I wore it on the plane. They let me keep it. I wore it on the plane till I got to the next city.
Graduated today.
I heard that.
I was geek, man.
People was like, man, congratulations. You're like, thank you.
Thank you.
You know what I'm
I knew I had to
saying?
earn that.
I worked hard.
Sir, your ticket, please. Like, oh, that's a degree. Oh, sorry about that. Here's my ticket.
Yes.
Do you get recognized all over the world, Common?
Yeah, actually, it's a lot more than. Yeah, definitely, I get recognized.
If it's not Common, who do they think you are? Do you have that other celebrity looking
Dude,
like?
let me tell you how bad it's been. They've called me everybody from Mos Def to Redman back in the day to like they just see somebody Q-Tip. Somebody called me Questlove.
Questlove. They
Yes,
don't know what
bro.
Questlove looks like
Yeah.
at all.
It's like they go Quest. Oh, and just recently it was.
They got the same girl.
I guess it's a compliment because I'm like way older than this dude. But he was like, this lady was like, Ma, that's that rapper. That's Chance the Rapper.
Yeah.
I was like,
What?
Yeah, like, good Lord have mercy. Do you see a 3 on my cap?
Right.
What's going on
Am I
here?
wearing
you
overalls?
can't say you got no.
Now the beard game, you're going to start getting Drake too now. Watch.
You think so?
Oh, all they're going to do is look at a light skin.
Yeah.
And
I mean,
there you go.
They do just try to. Honestly, that I think when they see people, they just be like, "Yo." But now, man, like sometimes people be like, "Yo, I love you" from the show Hell on Wheels. It'll be Middle
Yeah.
America, or they'll be like, "Man, I see you in them Microsoft commercials." You're like,
Yeah, man.
Those are
and it's
dope.
Like, because you don't know what
just
they
popped
coming
out
up
of
to you
nowhere.
for
coming
now.
up to me, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's a different audience. Some of them don't even know I've done music and do music. It's great though, man. I'm like, man.
Did you
bit of
study
everything.
acting?
Yeah. I was started studying acting, like really while I was doing music, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, really when I started. And then I got my first movie like in 2005. Like it was Smoking Aces. But I had been studying. I still study.
That's
you know,
crazy. I
studying.
remember doing the interview with you for Smoking
Smoking
Aces.
Aces,
Oh,
bro.
wow.
That's crazy, man.
bro.
It's been a lot of calendars, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Thank
it's a lot
God.
of
Beautiful.
time. We here, bro.
Not that
Yes,
you
sir.
do anything for awards, but you are very close to what John Legend just achieved with an
Yeah.
EGOT. You've got the Emmy, you've
Yeah.
got the Oscar, you've got the Golden
Grammy?
Globe. No, Grammy.
You got
Yes,
the
Grammy.
Grammy?
Sorry.
You got the Grammy.
You're on a Tony. Have you ever thought about doing Broadway? Or like, I'm sorry for my ignorance if I don't know that if you maybe did a play or...
No, I haven't done Broadway,
Okay.
but I really want to do Broadway. I mean, as you said, I don't do it just for the awards. Yes, I am very grateful for these awards. And when I create something, I want it to be at the Grammys or the Tonys or the Oscars. But I love theater. Like when I go to New York, I go see theater. Like I love theater, off Broadway and on Broadway. And I actually just was reading a play last night that I may potentially do.
That's dope.
Yeah, I really want to do
Where
a play.
is your Oscar?
It's at my house, man. It's like my mother gets all the other awards.
Right,
I was
but that one.
That
one's
Oscar, I was
like,
like,
Yeah.
dude, man, it was crazy.
Get her one off of Hollywood Boulevard.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like, here you go, mama. Like, wow, these things are real little. These things are much smaller than what I thought.
Cause when I won that my whole, like a lot of my family I grew up with, my mother had all her friends come in town. It was like, and we had a dinner at Crustaceans after the Oscars. And I walked in and I was like, I came in and they kind of gave me a pseudo clap. Like I was like, man, why ain't they happy? Like what's going on? And then my mother pulled me aside. She was like, they want to see the Oscar. So I had to go home and get the Oscar.
Oh, man.
And pull the Oscar.
They're like,
and be
boy, we see you all the time.
They're like,
brought it-
commentator.
You came in with that Oscar and pulled it off the bag. They were like, let me hold this. Let me hold this. And it's crazy, man, because you don't do it like you say. You don't do it for the Oscar, for the Oscar or any of the accolades. It's more like also having my Oscar as well. It's like a whole different feeling. You know what I'm saying?
Your Oscar?
Oscar Mayer
what?
sandwich is
All right, let's clear that up.
You gonna play me out? You know what I'm saying? All right, well, you already on here. Oscar winner in here. Yeah, man, I could have had my Oscar.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that don't validate me. It don't validate me. You know what I'm saying?
You don't need that?
I don't need it, man. You know, I haven't done any projects to get it. You know what I'm saying? Hollywood don't take me in that serious manner like that either. But so that could probably be the reason too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
One day, Big.
Yeah, and
One day, we're
your
putting in the
speech
universe.
was amazing too.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, man.
That was
It's
so
like you get the
beautiful.
right people at the right moments to get the right thing and say the right things.
Yeah, we knew like that moment was bigger than us.
Yeah.
Really, like we felt like we was representing.
Did you know you were gonna win?
I felt confident, but it's till
But they don't like
till
tip
they
a
say
hat
your
to
name.
you.
No, they didn't tip a hat. But it was a guy at rehearsal that was like, man, I feel good about y'all. But it was never like I knew until they said that name, Lonnie Lynn and John Stevens. That's what they said at the awards.
I
was
heard
like,
that.
Whoa, man. But when we was in that moment, man, we were like, man, we got to say something, man. Like this is.
Hey,
this
when they
ain't
say
about
Lonnie
us.
Lynn, do people like, man, who the hell is that?
Yo, that's
Hell, Lonnie Lynn.
Yo.
Hey, Robin Cobb.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's Common?
Rasheed, go get your.
That's it. Yo, people was
Be like, oh, Common up there accepting the award for Lonnie.
Lonnie.
Which is his real name.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that people was like, they said a lot of people told me they reacted when they heard that name, like, damn,
Damn, they almost got it.
they ain't get it. They ain't get it.
Yeah.
And then they saw us stand up.
We all man, like, man,
I'm
these
here.
white. Yeah, can you imagine?
Yeah, right?
We man, these white oh, that's him. They got it. Okay.
You gave us Her Love. Is there any chance of an album following up?
Oh yeah, that's what this Her Love is the first single
Okay.
off the album. The album is called Let Love. It's inspired by the book.
Okay.
So it's really that music you feel. It's like that soulful, just hip hop, but just still fresh and new. Like I've collaborated with definitely some new artists.
Who?
Like,
Tell us.
This artist named LaKaylee 47. Y'all
Okay.
ever
Yeah,
heard of her?
yeah.
I love
She's
her.
dope.
I collaborated with BJ, the Chicago
Okay.
kid. I love him. I
On
actually
tour with you?
have this song with a couple gospel artists. I like this artist named Jonathan McReynolds and William Murphy. I collaborated with them and Anthony Hamilton on this one
ahead,
song
Anthony Hamilton.
called God Is Love. And the music is progressive. It's produced by Kareem Riggins and this dude Samora Pender Hughes and Bernice. It's really like live, but it got the boom bap to it.
and it's completed?
Yeah, it's done. It's done. We like in the final stages of mixing.
Okay.
So
Where do
we
you
are
find-
talking. Go ahead, love.
Sorry, where do you continue to find your inspiration for music?
I would say this has been the most inspiration I've had for music in a long time. I mean, anytime I do music, it got to come from a place of inspiration. But this time, I didn't try to do another movie. I didn't try to do a movie while I was working. I found the inspiration because I knew that this book was really personal, and it kind of gave me a theme to like I'm talking about the relationship with me and my daughter in this song, like because I talked about it in the book, and like how she didn't see me as a great father and how that affected me and how I learned about love by just listening to her instead of trying to explain why I'm a good father.
Right.
And that gave me like having the book that's talking about certain things made me be like, because I love themes and stories.
Yes.
So it gave me like a theme to write about. And so the album just kind of, this is like the most attention and energy I put in the album in some years.
Do you
So
feel like
beautiful.
writing the book opened up a lot of opportunities and doors and layers and creativity?
oh man, it really opened up one of the most pure things you can have as an artist is that honesty and truth. And it really like made me get to a truer truth in me. Because like I said, and you all know, I talk a lot about love and personal things in music. But to talk about, like I have a song with BJ, the Chicago kid, called Memories of Home, where it's talking about being molested. And it's like, to talk about that in the song was like, even when I played it for the team, they was like, wow, this is like, but they felt the spirit and the soul of it. So it really opened up me to go places that I haven't been in hip hop, like as a writer. So I really love that. And that makes it exciting for me because it's like, man, I think about like the Marvin Gayes of the world who just poured out their soul.
Yes.
And that's really what I want to do as an artist.
That's what
Comment,
lasts forever.
Do you know how to sing?
Nah, I wish I
Can you
did.
imagine
you
if you
do.
were a singer, like a
He knows how
singer
to
though?
sing. I have a feeling he does. He's
I
lying.
really don't. I really, that would be
He's like,
bad.
You might as well do it anyway. Everybody else does.
I know, man.
Auto tune, you'd be good.
I know, but I get live and they'll be like, oh, this dude sucks.
Yeah.
off.
Do you have
Might
a
as well
release?
nobody care about their live shows anymore. You know what I'm saying?
Beyonce does.
Oh yeah.
Beyonce does.
And get you some dancers. You know what I'm saying? We can go ahead and do it. You know,
We got it.
When was the last concert? What was the last concert you went to, or the last concert you were excited about?
The last concert I was excited about, man, I'm trying to think. What was I excited? I saw like the Roots Picnic, which was kind of
Oh, that
dope.
was so dope.
That was dope because, man, they just did like a commemoration to their album Things Fall Apart. But then they had like her perform. They had 21 Savage perform, but they also had like Meek. They had like Beanie Siegels come out and do some of the old classic
Nice.
stuff and Freeway, and it was just dope, man. So
That's a moment too.
yeah, that was a moment.
Hey, Common, do you ever get to where you're so positive and we expect that from you? Do you ever feel like, man, I just feel like fucking somebody up today?
Oh man, I definitely at times I be caught in moments, man, like whether it's at the airport or whatever, and I'm frustrated, and I'll be ready to snap. And sometimes I have snapped, but man, I always, eventually I try to just catch myself if I can, and I try to use that. But it's times I ain't always like just like, oh man, everything is just mindfulness.
Especially if somebody doing you wrong too.
exactly.
Hey, brother, you know
exactly.
what I'm saying?
You can't.
We are humans.
Exactly, we humans. So
And that's the one thing I loved about Pac too, is that Pac, people say, oh, he was contradicted. I'm like, no, that's human beings.
That's a human being.
You know what I'm saying? That's the way we are.
Dude,
push
I be
me, you gonna
checking.
find
I
me.
be checking. Like, I definitely don't like when I see people being disrespected or somebody and that get me.
Same.
I had to jump out the car a couple months ago. On something that was it was this lady. It wasn't a couple months ago. It was around probably Christmas time, and I was at a mall, and it was a lady that was doing the traffic at the mall, and it was crazy, and so I just happened to pull up, and somebody had noticed me, so I rolled my window down, and that's when I heard the conversation this man was having with this lady.
Yeah,
and in front, like where I can hear it, he was like, you don't even know the language. Go back to all that kind of stuff, man. Oh my God, bro.
Man,
I jumped out the car on him because he even shot me one where I was like, say that to a man, and he stood like he was gonna do something. Boy, he saw them red lights go on when I put the car in park. Man, he was gone.
Man,
and I'm talking about comment. I was trying to get him, bro.
Man, sometimes we just be in that. Dude, it's been times like a Uber driver just did that to me and some of the ladies that work with me. He was just being disrespectful. And I just was like, I was snapping, man. I was like, man, I will give you that business right now, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Like, for real, this is what it is. And then I left out, like, I was like, let love have the last word, nigga.
Yeah. Had to throw
The
that in like,
remix.
man, you lucky what I could have done, but I won't. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wrote you a pass.
Right,
you know what I'm
exactly.
saying? You don't even know what kind of pass I wrote you right now.
Common, you obviously peel up a lot of layers and let love have the last word. You talk about your childhood. Looking back, what advice would you give your younger self?
Man, I would tell my younger self to be okay with being who you are. Like really be like, love yourself and be okay with like, yeah, you're a little different. You might like some other stuff. You don't have to follow what the trend is or what your homie's doing. Man, think for yourself, because as many times I was just doing stuff because other people said my nature wasn't really to be out there like I want to go hurt somebody, but I was just like, yeah, I'm about to go do some stuff just because we're doing it. And I think, being able to follow that would be like really follow my heart and like listen to myself and make my own choices. I tell my daughter that now, I'm like, yo, if you're going to sit there and smoke some weed, make sure you do it because you wanted to do it.
Right.
Because other people are doing it.
Yeah.
Like, not the might as well. Like, might as well.
Exactly. And so.
Can you look at Monica and tell her the same thing? And Ani
Don't
over
fall
here.
for peer pressure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Come on, Monica.
Yeah, peer pressure, beer pressure.
Yeah, there it is.
Peer pressure is beer
Beer
pressure over
pressure,
there.
bro. Gotta drink, dog.
I ain't mad at
you gotta
you.
love it.
At what age would you say that you discovered what self-love is? Because I feel like just like therapy in the Black and brown community, self-love is something that's just taboo or non-existent.
Yeah, I think it's been a evolution. I think at a certain point I started to value myself. Around 25, 26, I was like, actually it was another time after a breakup that I was like, I was going through it and it's like, man, what's the matter with me? Like, why am I going through it this way? And I realized that I had put more value in that person than I did in myself. And I was like, man, I was willing to do that. When another star was around, when another artist was around, I would just dim my light. So I was like, you know what? I got to start loving myself more. I just started working on it. Like the work was like reading these books and like praying and just really starting to like kind of say declarations that help me do it and start thinking that way instead of being afraid to be like, man, I'm dope in this area. Like it was like. It was helpful to be around Ye at times because Ye's confidence when we would do like listening sessions and stuff like that, he just was like proud of his music.
Yeah, man.
And I used to
He
feel
is.
like that was offending people if I'm trying to show them I'm great in this way. And I had to learn to do that in my own way, just be able to embrace my greatness and love myself.
And be
Love,
humble,
love.
but be loud. Be loud at the right times
At
too.
the right
humble
times.
hero.
Yes,
Hell yeah.
exactly.
It seemed like you take breakups bad.
Yeah.
Every
Because
time,
he's
but
a
you
Pisces,
spin
that's
out of
why.
it. You know what I'm saying? But
Pisces.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah,
are you
I
one of them
heard him.
people that are you snot at the nose and crying and do you let your beard
You take
grow
it
out?
hard.
I definitely be going through it, bro.
Yeah,
Are you
man.
dating
Do you still-
now?
Yeah, all right, that was the
Believe
next
in
one.
love?
What'd you say?
Like,
He's
do
like,
you
yo,
believe in
asking too
still
many questions.
like
Oh, I
finding that
definitely
love?
believe in love, and I am dating now. Like I have
okay.
a great like partner, a woman who I'm really like enjoying. Like now I'm able to be in a good, healthier
Right,
relationship.
right.
You know,
You can give them the best of you
Self-aware.
as
best
well.
of me, and still like, cause I used to kind of relate relationships to taking away from my work and doing this. Like so, now I've kind of like learned it.
You've had some bad ones though too. I can understand.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
Are you still like,
I think
I'm
I'll give up
heartbroken
a
over
couple of
Erica.
my own projects too.
yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying? That's
Put this on the back burner.
Distracted.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
Come
baby,
on now.
Did you forget your racket? Did you forget your
Erica and
racket?
these beautiful
I'll be here when you get back. All right, I'll be here when you get back. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like,
are you
hell
still
yeah.
cool with your past relationships though, the people?
Yeah, like shoot, just recently I was talking to Erica.
Yes,
we
queen.
we just cool. We just cool. And Serena and I did like a talk that was raising money for our foundations.
That's beautiful.
And we just still all good. It's like none of them left off like that war. And even if it was some angst there, we kind of got over it because it's like, I mean, that's what to me. I love those people. I love all of them. So it's like in different ways, I always still appreciate them in my life and appreciate what they brought to my life. So I just still hold them with respect. But I'm definitely happy now, like in a good relationship. And breakups used to break me up a little bit. But I was just learning and thinking about how the relationships are some of the things that make you grow the most.
They
Yeah,
do.
man.
They teach you the most about yourself.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like I needed that. Like,
Yeah.
And then it also make you realize what's right for you too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
When you open up and really receive the message
Yeah.
and understand, and it's not a disrespect to anyone, but maybe something else blocked your blessing.
Yeah.
So then when that one comes, you're like, This is it.
That's it. You
This
know
is
what's
it.
right for you.
Tommy, this is my buddy Jose. I call him my extension
Jose.
cord to the Lord.
Yes.
Yeah, because he's a little closer, so he plugs me in.
Okay.
You know, so this is my extension cord to the Lord. What did you have? Why don't you get on the mic? You've been around me
Yeah.
for 30
Jose.
years.
You're in here every day, Jose.
Dude.
Come on,
Don't you
Jose.
know why?
Yeah,
you sit close to
he's
these
in
mics?
here every day.
Come here.
You know, get on that mic right there, Jose. And
come
I'm
on,
pretty sure
Jose.
it's gonna be something about religion.
Yes. He's all ready.
Comment, I have a question. I've seen you interact and attend the Potter House with TD Jakes.
Yes, sir.
And he's helped me a lot and inspired me a lot. So with everything that you've gone through, I was just curious, how has he impacted you in your journey?
Man, his sermons have been really something that I could digest and apply to my life.
Yeah.
And those are the pastors that I want to listen to. People that speak the word of God. They're not judging. They include everybody. They not even like one thing I like about Bishop Jakes is like you could tell he respect Muslims. He respect
Right.
people from different spiritual practices, and that's just my philosophy. So I need people that already think like that. But I respect him because from a distance I used to not pay attention to TD Jakes because he seemed like one of those just big preachers that
Right.
that we always
Popular.
Like the machine.
yeah, the machine. But then I got to hear one of his sermons because I got good friends who listen to him. And I was like, man, this dude is dope. And he's evolving too.
Right.
Like I could tell his evolution is not just only like about church. He like trying to teach you just about life. So I really love his sermons for that purpose. And And I actually go out here in LA to Potter's House LA, One LA, which is Bishop Jakes' daughter Sarah Jakes and Pastor Teray's church.
All right.
Yeah.
There it is, Jose Logano.
Thank you very much.
Getting his interview
Wow,
in.
Jose.
Working on his-
That's a question, Jose.
He gonna be working on his Godcast
Yes.
coming up
I
very
like
soon,
that.
ladies
Should
and
do that.
gentlemen. Jose with the Godcast. Yeah, man. I wish you nothing but happiness,
Yes.
bro.
Thank you, bro.
Common
Appreciate
in the neighborhood, man. We got to do it again when the album comes. The
Yes,
album
sir.
is this year.
Yeah, the album is August 30th.
Oh,
It's
okay, well,
coming.
we'll see you
Yeah.
next month then.
Here we go.
Yeah, we leave that on the
You'll
month
be
after.
back.
You know what I'm saying? Show you right. Sound like I'm
More
gonna get a
coming.
free show out of him.
Yes.
Start working on
I
the
like
flyers. Start working on the promo. Day Day, I
peer
appreciate
pressure,
you.
no peer pressure.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, no peer pressure. Day Day, can
You're
you
putting
do
it
it
in
for
the
us?
universe.
Thank you so much. Common in the neighborhood, Big Boy's
Big
neighborhood.
boy.